Awesome Rider Wiki.
Hey YouTube, Awesome Rider here, and welcome back to Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel Reviews. We are back from hiatus with our first brand new episode, Outfoxed, I believe was the title? It'll be right in the description and stuff, probably. But yeah, so this is our mid-season premiere after we took hiatus from the cliffhanger in which Madame Odious cut the Rangers off from their Zords basically, and she's got her super duper road. I was gonna say Zord and then robot, and then I just ended up saying road. But then, and then she, didn't have enough power, so she had to stop. And so the Rangers are trying to figure out what to do, and then all of a sudden the Prism's like, I have the answer, suddenly Blaze Zords. But when they try to summon them, they can't get them out for some reason, and that sort of leads to the whole point of the episode, which is trying to find a way to either become worthy of the Blaze Zords or fix their other Zords in time. The main thing I want to talk about first, which is really neat, which I think was probably the coolest thing about the episode, was they actually foreshadowed / led into the upcoming anniversary special Dimensions in Danger, which is airing on Tuesday. We got 3 mysterious, robe, sage-like people that appeared out of a portal suddenly after they couldn't figure out how to be worthy of the Blaze Zords, and they talked about, oh, you used to be worthy, oh. They didn't say it like that, but more or less. And then they went back into the portal, and then they came back at the end, after they got it, to be like, oh, congratulations. They're making them sound more ghosty than they were, and they were not like that. But, honestly, for a split second I was like, oh, I wonder if this is somehow tied to the Super Steel mythology, and then I'm like, oh no, it's probably veteran Rangers. And when I first saw them, I think when just one of them spoke, I assumed it was Wes, Tommy, and Kat. But then when they appeared again, it was pretty obviously Wes, Gemma, and Coda. A, because of that preview clip that we got of those 3 together, and B, Coda's speech pattern when Brody said epic, Coda's hooded version of himself said yes, epic or something like that, but it was, distorted, and also Wes's speech pattern, so there was nothing specific about Gemma's that reminded me, but it just makes sense. And it's also kind of neat because those 3 each represent the 3 main dimensions of the live action show, Wes being the original main timeline, of course Gemma being RPM, and then Dino Charge being Coda. And I don't know whether this implies that Ninja Steel is in its own world, or they're just simply using some sort of Invisiportal-like thing, or portal, or whatever. I guess we might find out next week. I've been kind of confused about that, because the comics kind of imply they're in the same world as MMPR, but that could be the comics timeline. I don't know. Weebly wobbly timey wimey. We might find out next week, but regardless of whether Ninja Steel is in a 4th world, it's actually neat to have 3 of them from 3 separate worlds. And then there was also a final shot of them overseeing the city, and the one in the middle crosses his arms, and you see the Time Force Morpher in the red glove, so you know that's Wes. That was really cool. I thought that was neat that they actually had something leading into the special. I honestly expected it to be an island, us to just get a self-contained episode where we might not even mention it really that much again. So I was happy about that. That was neat. And something I didn't think about till after the fact was the way that they're robed kind of reminds me of the way Andros would go around in space, when he was at the Alliance dinner meeting, or when he showed up in Forever Red. So that was cool. Yeah, that was probably the coolest part of the episode. Everything else was very okay. It felt a little bit anticlimactic, because we had this cliffhanger. I'm like, okay, that's a pretty decent-ish cliffhanger, and then it's so stagnant, because it's well, Odious is trying to recharge too, so it's not like Odious is attacking the city. And basically what they did is, they're like, oh, we gotta prove we're worthy, so they go out there and, fight the monsters and show all their skills and flips and arrow shoots, and they're like, I don't understand, we're so worthy because we did cool moves. And then I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a lesson. I think the Energems and the Prism need to talk, just have a good discussion about how to be the most pretentious power source that just is, really fickle about giving its powers away. I get what they were going for. There's a decent message in there. It just, I'm not a fan of the storytelling device of the Prism and the Energems being used as sort of an obstacle in order to teach a lesson in which it'll somehow hold back. I don't think that's necessary. I think you can accomplish doing some sort of Power Rangers lesson without that. It just kind of bothers me, especially in this case, because the message was basically, even when you're in crisis, you took time to help people out, because as they were running around trying to find the solution to fix their regular Zords, they kept encountering things they needed to help with. It was their teacher's wedding ring, and this new student Sandy that might be a potential love interest for Preston, Victor and Monty getting stuck together. And so yeah, that wasn't a bad message, but it's not like the Ninja Steel Rangers were oh, we can't help these people because we're on our way to a concert. They were trying to do something to stop an attack. Like, you know what? You're not worthy enough because you didn't help them unglue their hair, and you're too busy worrying about a robot blowing up the city. The priorities. Like, I got it. Like, the message was, you know, you took time anyway, but it's like, they were being selfless. They were trying to stop. I don't know. It seemed like it could have been accomplished another way. It just kind of bothered me. It kind of reminded me of Dino Charge when Prince Philip wasn't worthy until he saved that girl, even though I felt he was worthy just for the sheer fact that he gave up the Energem, and it proved that he wanted it for selfless reasons. I don't know. It just seems, I feel like once you're chosen, there shouldn't be like such a temporary relationship, it seems, with these power sources. This is kind of a different case, but one of my favorite parts in Dino Thunder was actually the third episode when Connor was basically considering quitting for more or less selfish reasons, and then he discovers through saving that little girl, like, what's really important. And I really liked that because it wasn't like the Dino Gem started to unbond with him when he was like, oh, but what about my personal life, you know? It trusted him, like he was chosen for a reason. I don't know, I think that you can accomplish stuff without that. It just kind of irks me because it's making it seem like the Rangers trying to stop this giant robot attack that was imminent was a bad thing. Like, I don't know, I'm probably just like harping on it too much. Not to harp on it, but yeah, like that just kind of bothered me. I just think the bottom line is, as I said, I think they could have done a similar lesson in a different way without using the prism as a roadblock, or maybe a different situation because like the situation with the robot was imminent. But yeah, we got the debut of the Blaze Zords. I mean, I'm glad it wasn't as simple as, oh man, we need Zords, and then it's like, oh, here's Zords, and then they go out. At least there was something to it. It still felt a bit anticlimactic, and the mythology around the prism and stuff got a little more confusing with that, especially since like the veteran Rangers knew about it somehow. I kind of doubt that will be explained. It would be neat if like next week in a few days in the special they ask like, hey, how'd you know so much about the prism, if there was something, but I'm kind of doubting it. But yeah, overall it was a decent return. You know, it was enjoyable. I was a little irked by that whole prism business, but I liked that we foreshadowed everything, and we got a decent, if not a little bit lackluster, follow-up to the cliffhanger. But I'm looking forward to seeing the anniversary special, and yeah, we'll go from there. I'd probably give this episode a 6.7. It's held back from the glory of a full-on 7 because of that weird prism moral stuff. Anyway, that's about it. Until next time, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, and of course, don't forget to climb the steps and ring that bell to get the notifications for all my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.